Absolutely, you bet.
You getting it how often? Every 6 months?
I got the initial 2,
Yeah.
and then I got the booster last fall, and then I'll get another one this fall.
So, what's different about that particular shot? I mean, with this mRNA,
mRNA, messenger RNA.
So that's a different. Something about that's totally different than the flu shot or chicken pox or explain that to me in layman's terms. Why is that different?
Most vaccines are what they call cell based. So they take the virus, they infect the cell in a way, and then make it so that it's not infectious, and then use that or a byproduct of that to inject into you, so your body says, "Oh, I recognize that as being something bad. I'll kill it." Or I'll make antibodies to it. Your body makes the natural antibodies to it. And so when you do get infected, if you get exposed to it, then your body says, "Oh, I recognize that. That's a bad thing. I got to go kill that." And it does.
Who figured that out?
Isn't that something? It really is something. Yeah, Salk and Sabin with polio. And I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, people are geniuses when they do. That's why you got to let them work. You got to let them be.
Okay, so what's different about this?
So this is taking messenger RNA is one of the is a genetic component that all of us have that make all sorts of things, like different proteins and different things in your body, and this takes a part of the virus that has that messenger RNA, and makes it so that virus then can't, it blocks the virus from getting into the cell with that genetic component, as opposed to the cell.
All right, help me figure that out. And
it's a completely different way to do it. Now, the important thing for folks to appreciate is that they've been trying to figure out how to use this messenger RNA positively for a long time, decades, at least 20 years. It's thought
FDA wouldn't let them do it, or what?
Well, scientists hadn't figured it out. I mean, they were working on, and they've been working diligently on this to try. It's been thought that it's one of the solutions to cancer, because if you can figure out how to block the cancer from replicating, this cancer cell from replicating, by using a messenger RNA vaccine or treatment, then, hallelujah, thank the good Lord. But they haven't been able to figure that out. But what the reason that this was able to be done so rapidly is because of all the work that's been done in the last 20 years on this technology. And a number of companies, Pfizer's one of them, Moderna's another one, that had been working on this, and they said, I think that we might be able to do that. The different thing that Operation Warp Speed did that had never been done before is that it took all sorts of money from the federal government and said, okay, here's the money to be able to do whatever you need to do to come up with this vaccine. And we're going to pay you, we're going to cover those costs whether you
pay stupid money,
whether it works or not. We're not, if it doesn't work, then you give it your best shot. And what happened is that they believed that it worked, and it went through all sorts of testing. Now, the testing was sped up. And so people had a lot of concern about that. They said, the FDA hasn't done their job. Not true, but the FDA hadn't done their job was the accusation. The fact of the matter is that at this point, this is the most tested vaccination in the history of mankind. Billions and billions of people, doses literally, have been given. And so we know more about the consequences of this, the side effects of this, than any vaccine.
So you're not worried about any side effects, evidently.
I think that there are side effects, but I think that the incident, every time with a vaccine, every time with a drug, you got to say, am I better with the drug or without the drug? Everything has a risk. There's no doubt about it. And there's some individuals who likely ought not get it. But that decision, again, surprise, surprise, ought to be between the doctor and the patient, not anybody else.
Right.
The doctor and the patient ought to be making that decision. But yeah, sure, there are risks, absolutely. And I'm blessed to be relatively healthy, and thank the good Lord. And I think the risks for healthy individuals. I'm considered a senior. I don't feel like a senior, but I'm considered a senior.
Do you get the flu shot?
I do, absolutely.
Okay, so it's kind of, I'm thinking a little bit for myself, that's kind of what it's going to be like maybe for a little bit, get my flu shot and my
Now what they're working on is being able to have it be bivalent, so the flu and the COVID shot are together, and and they only have to shoot you once.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think the state of Georgia's turning purple? What do you?
I don't think
what do you
it's
think?
turning purple. I think it is purple. I mean, you can't have